Hey, this is Wileen Benson, and you are on the Daily Gratitude Call, where we start every day in gratitude. Gratitude is the highest energy state that we can be in. It creates a frequency of positive vibration that attracts positive experiences into our lives. Hey everybody, this is Wileen Benson. This is our Daily Gratitude Call. Really excited to be on the call today. Today's Valentine's Day. Just want to wish all of you a happy Valentine's Day. My husband and I met on Valentine's Day. We didn't start dating until April, but we actually met on Valentine's Day. And so this is always a special day for us. We've got just some fun activities planned for ourselves from 1 o'clock on today. It's just us. We're just going to be spending the day together and super excited to be doing that. Hope that you all have a wonderful Valentine's Day. I've heard of a lot of different variations of Valentine's Day. My girls did a Galentine's Day party at our house last Sunday where it was just girlfriends and gal friends, and that was really fun. They did a little tea party with some, and then did a painting project. So I've heard of a Gothentine's party that somebody's doing today, and it's like, okay, you can just like do any kind of variation, and it's good. It's awesome. So just happy Valentine's Day, however you're celebrating that. Today on our gratitude call and our 90-second private meditation, someone, I wasn't really sure how to say this, and so I asked for some feedback from the live participants here on the call of how to be grateful for like only being able to see the good in your relation, within your relationships. And one of our participants said, "Love's blind eye," and I think that's what we're gonna use is gratitude for love's blind eye. When we go into a relationship, especially like a love relationship, we just see the best in someone, and over the years, we kind of start nitpicking about little things that maybe don't even matter, or maybe big things. But how beautiful that relationship is when we just don't see any of the negative. And I think that would be just a fun thing for us to focus on today. Gratitude for love's blind eye. And I'm going to set a timer for 90 seconds. We're going to have a private meditation, silent meditation, and just write down whatever comes to you on gratitude for love's blind eye. Begin. All right. Okay. Seeing the best in others. The first thing that came to me was Christ, his charity, the pure love of Christ is charity. And if I really have charity for someone, I see them through Christ's eyes. And my love for them is not conditional upon what they do or any kind of outside influence, any kind of outside environmental stimulus doesn't change that pure love of Christ. We had a little discussion when there was just a couple of us on the call before we had really started our rounds of gratitude about when you want something for someone else. We just had a little discussion about that, and we came to the conclusion that agency overrules anything. We can pray and hope and have this desire for someone, but if they don't choose it, that they ultimately have the final say. And I think that unconditional love, love that has no condition, that we would definitely continue to see that person as beautiful, wonderful, and perfect, regardless of what their choices are, even if it's something that we would not choose for them because we love them so much. So love's blind eye would be to let go of any agenda of, even if we know for certain that it would be better for that person, and even if they know for certain it would be better for that person if they would make a change, that we still love them without that. That doesn't taint our love for them when they make choices that are maybe not the best for them. Who else has something that they would like to share?
The thing I thought of was young love, love's first breath, the newness of seeing the good things that the good things in the person that we fell in love with, and I guess that's it. Just that young love that you only see what you want to see, or what you only see the good, and it is really what you just want to see. But you just see all the good. That young love, that love's first breath, are the two things that came to me.
Awesome.
And just the newness, and keeping that newness with you.
Beautiful. Thank you. I know when my husband and I first met, he's about 6 years older than me. And of course, he's a guy and I'm not. And there were a lot of hobbies and interests and things that I had never been exposed to before. And two of them were classical music, like classic rock, and also classic cars, like the muscle cars. I just saw them as old cars. And why would anybody want one of those? He exposed me to that. And because I was young love, like you're talking about, Mary, I was just like, oh, this has got to be cool. There must be something really cool about this because Clint likes it. And so I opened myself to learn something about those two, and I love them now. So I was able to see things through his eyes. That's awesome. Thank you. Who else?
I'd like to share because I had some strong emotions about this.
Awesome.
This kind of brought me back to my divorce, which wasn't my choosing, right? And for the longest time, I just wanted her to get hit by a Mack truck, and her to suffer like she made me suffer, but now I have that same love for her that I had before. I mean, it's not a romantic love, but it's a love, because, and it reminds me of what Marianne Williamson said. She said, if you were that person, you would make the same choice. And so I think that, like, the forgiveness here is part of this, like loving that person, even though they've offended you, and seeing their qualities, and and understanding that if you were that person, you would make the same decision. Your world would be like their world, and you would have the same circumstances going on, and you would have the same upbringing, and you would have the same thought processes, and so, you know, to judge someone for the decision that they make is to say that I'm better than you,
Mm.
and I'm not. I'm not better than them. And if I were them, then I would make the same decision.
Wow.
And that helps me forgive. It helps me forgive that person and even actually agree.
Mm-hmm.
Let them be right, you know, agree with what it is that they're doing, you know, and instead of judging what they're doing, just agreeing what they're doing and being their advocate, and no matter what they decide to do to you, then it reminds me of that statue of Christ, you know, at the Temple Square, you know, where he stands there with his arms open and his hands out, and he's bulletproof. You know, it doesn't matter what you say to him, or it doesn't matter
Mm-hmm.
what you think about him. He stands there, no, in any case, in the wind, in the fire, with his hands open, vulnerable to you. And when and I find that when I am resistant, when I am judging someone else, that I have actually got my arms folded and my head turned sideways, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
with judgment in myself, and that's when I'm the most miserable.
Wow.
And so, uh, letting that go and agreeing with those who offend you, and realizing that they're right, you know. I mean, that even you did things too, you know, and that was your old self. They're right. You did. You are guilty. You are, as you know, whatever they think about you, whatever opinion they came up with, they had their reasons and they're right about it. And so to go and argue about why you're right is that's just going to put you in opposition and resistance and going to keep you sad. And so
Wow.
that's a powerful lesson that I have, and I thought I would share that with you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Phil. This is that's such a very emotionally mature place that you're at to be able to experience that, and you've explained it beautifully. And I mean, I know I can totally see exactly what you're saying, and it puts you in a completely different, I mean, it gives new meaning to putting yourself in someone's shoes. um, and you know, the feeling of gratitude that you must feel for her making that choice, because when you do put yourself in her shoes, you know, with everything that she experienced, with her beliefs, her everything, it's like, oh my gosh, it would have been torture to stay married to you. And so, you know, the love that you have for her, it just that gratitude that she made that choice so that she could move on to, you know, having a better experience somewhere. So thank you. That's really profound.
You
Anybody
know,
else?
that happened in my marriage too. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Thanks, Michael.
Oh, that happened in my marriage too. And that's one of the things I wrote down, is to remember that we are all different, and that they have to put up with our faults and differences. And because we both came from different cultures and backgrounds, you know, we were raised differently. So love's blind eye to me is when we choose to work together, we design our work together to build a closer relationship. And because of the differences that we have, we look, because we want to share a world with that person, we look for commonalities and we build upon them.
Awesome. Thank you. The thought that I had is that love's blind eye is seeing clearly from the other person's perspective.
I just wanted to add something you said, Wileen, that made me think, talking about agency and agenda. And I thought how closely related those two words are. They must have the same root word, but there was just something jumping out to me about accepting other people's agency and recognizing agenda. I don't know, there's just something about that.
Yeah, some iteration there. Agency, agenda, accept. Thank you. All right. Let's go ahead and shift over to our permission process. We've opened up a really cool space, a space of love, gratitude, possibly some triggers going on inside with past relationships or even current relationships with some of these things that have been shared. So this is a place where we get to kind of bring it all to bring it all full circle and create a really wonderful feeling of closure. And so let's take a deep breath. And just be open for whatever information God has for you today, you personally in your particular situation, past experiences, current relationships, maybe even just love for yourself. Take another deep breath. And just right now in this moment, just be aware of one relationship that you would like to focus on today. Whether that be a relationship with yourself, a spouse, a past spouse, a new love relationship, a relationship with a child, whatever it is, maybe just a relationship that you have struggled with or have been struggling with, seeing or feeling love, unconditional love in this space. And as you observe this relationship, first of all, I'm going to invite us to put ourselves into that person's place, as Phil has suggested, that we can put ourselves into that person's place of being them, of understanding their belief system based on their upbringing, experiences that they've had in their lives, people that they've been associated with, and also just knowing that they have their own free will, their own choice. Just put yourself in that person's space. And first of all, what gratitude can you find for your relationship with this person, being more aware of where they're coming from and who they are? What gratitude can you find in the current relationship based on what you're starting to see as you put yourself in their place? And also, what accountability can you take now that you're seeing yourself from the other person's perspective? What accountability can you take within this relationship and the current way that it is? What's your part that you've contributed? And with this new space of gratitude and accountability, I invite you to be open to know what is the one most important thing that you could do today to improve this relationship from your perspective. Seeing it from the other person's perspective, what is the one most important thing that you could do? What's your inspired shortcut to creating common ground, to creating connection, to creating a feeling of charity and love between the two of you? And then once you know what that number one most important thing for you to do today is, then what is the limiting belief that's showing up that might stop you from taking action on that inspired shortcut? It might stop you from doing the one thing that would create connection and charity and Christ-like love between the two of you. As you're getting clear with what that limiting belief is, I invite you to, from that other person's perspective, realize what the cost has been to have this limiting belief, what the cost to the relationship is, what the cost to your own happiness, what's the cost to the ability for this other person to change. What must this limiting belief continue to bring to you if you hold on to it? And now that you're aware of what the cost of that limiting belief is, you have a choice. You can keep that limiting belief, or you can give yourself permission to choose a new belief. So if you're ready to give yourself permission to choose a new belief, say yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. So it's time now to go back to your perspective, return to your side, because this is the only place that you have choice to change. The other person has their choice to change. You have your choice to change. So let's move back over to your side, knowing now that you have been able to see things from a totally different perspective. What are the new beliefs that you can choose that are from your own personal perspective of how you're choosing to change? Not for the reason that maybe this would help the other person change, but just stating some new beliefs that help you to continue to see that person from a perspective of love, gratitude, accountability on your side. And that also will be that kind of that pivotal, getting through that pivotal crossroads so that these new beliefs will actually empower more connection, more love, more gratitude, and forgiveness. Possibly empower forgiveness on both sides. And in a moment, I'm going to open it up for some shares. We'll have time for a couple of shares today. And before I open it up, I just want to invite you all, if anyone is struggling in any way in this particular subject that we've talked about today. I know that this can be a really tender subject. And, when we think about loving someone, even though there's things that we don't like, that can be a really hard shift. And I'm just acknowledging that, and also offering to have a conversation with any of you that are still struggling with any of that in this area. Just go to askwylene.com. That takes you directly to my calendar, and you can schedule a 15-minute call with me. It's free. And I'd love to have that call with you to be able to sort of be your advocate of being able to see things from a different perspective, and to empower you to make a change that's going to get you back into a space of love and gratitude and acceptance. Who would like to share something about their experience today?
I'll share.
Thanks, Phil.
For me, my limiting belief is about me. It's about self-love, and like being able to love myself, because sometimes I'm a monster. And then just allowing myself to have that same love that I can extend to someone else because they're a monster. I'm guilty too, and that it's okay. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm on this planet, is so that I can learn a better way. And so that.
Awesome. Thank you.
So my permission process is that I can learn a better way, that I'm in the right place.
Beautiful. I love that. And Christ is our best example of that, right? There's nothing that we can do. There's no no act we can commit, no thought we can think, no, nothing that he would not have his hand extended to us. And so that's the kind of love that is ultimately we want to have for ourselves and for everyone else. Thank you. Anybody else?
I was having thoughts of I don't want to be happy, or I don't let myself be happy, or I need to be stuck. And I feel like that's all generational, because I mean, and then the thought came, well, I can act happy, but am I really happy? And there were just a lot of things that came up, and then it shifted to a different person. So, some of the new beliefs I have, though, out of that, is I am free to let love in. I am thankful for love. I am choosing to love, and I am easy to love.
Beautiful. Wow, those are awesome, Mary.
Oh, thank you. Love brings happiness.
I love it. Thank you. It feels like, from what has been shared, and I had that thought, as we were going through the meditation, that our connection with ourselves is the most important and most powerful connection that we can create, because that self-love that you've been sharing about, this is the basis, it's the foundation of everything. If we don't believe that we're worthy of love, then we're not worthy of wealth. We're not worthy of good things happening to us. There's so much that we shut the door on when we don't love ourselves. We hear, you can't love other people if you don't love yourself. There's a lot. I mean, we really basically shut the door on everything if we don't believe that we are worthy of love. And, if we don't love ourselves, that's basically what we're saying is, I'm not worthy of love. There's something wrong with me. I'm not good enough. I need, to be somebody different or change or whatever. When the fact is that we are worthy of love. We are loved. Christ loves us. God loves us. Many people love us, but the most important love is our own self-love. I have a little exercise that I share occasionally with my clients that are struggling with this, to stand naked in front of a mirror. And what better day to do this than on Valentine's Day? Stand naked in front of a mirror and give yourself at least like 20 or 30 minutes to do this, and look at every single part of you, your hair, your earlobes, your eyes, and talk to yourself, talk to each one of these little bits and pieces of you, your heart, your cells, your blood flow, everything about you, and talk to those pieces of you as if you're talking to your best friend. Because really, you are your best friend. You're always going to be with you. You're never going to leave you. You're always someone that you can depend on to be there, and you are your best friend. So if you're struggling with that, I encourage you to try that exercise today on Valentine's Day and just see what you get to learn. Well, I love you guys. Thank you so much for being on the call today. This has turned out to be something completely different than what I thought we were going to be focusing on, and it was perfect. Just as it always is. I appreciate you all being here, helping to create it. And I love you. Happy Valentine's Day. It's Friday, so we won't be here tomorrow and Sunday. I can invite you to continue your gratitude practice, your daily GPS through the weekend, and then we'll be back together 7 a.m. Mountain Time on Monday. Thank you.
Thanks, Wileen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. Hey, thanks so much for listening. And I encourage you to tune in every day to the Daily Gratitude Call. And the Daily Gratitude Call happens live every weekday morning. I'd love to have you join. So to find out how to join live, go to my website, WileenBenson.com. Thanks for tuning in.